Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Cinnamon Stitches. I am your yarn host Jennifer, and in today's episode I am showing you how to make this really cute tank top that is on both me and I don't remember my mannequin's name. This one is made with Cotton Sprout Speckled from Premier Yarns. This is Cotton Sprout DK, and then I ran out of yarn for this one because it's the prototype, and this is just Dollar Tree yarn. I don't recommend using the Dollar Tree Just yarn for this garment because it is heavy and it feels not as great to wear. I would not wear. Just trust me on this. Don't use your Just yarn, okay? Don't use the Just Cotton from the Dollar Tree for this. But this one is 100% of the cotton except the blue parts because I ran out of yarn. This one is made with Dottie from Premier Yarn as well. This one is 100% anti-pilling acrylic. No, it's not anti-pilling. This is made from 100% acrylic. Is really soft. It's a DK weight. It gives the same kind of vibe. It has really pretty speckles. Give you an up close. It gives you the speckles. Is really pretty. You can get a similar look with both of these yarns depending on whether you want cotton or acrylic. I do give you the prices in a couple of videos previous to this. So the Cotton Sprout is I think $4.99 a ball. You need about 1,100 yards to make a 4X. And I know that because this is a 4X. The one I'm wearing is closer to a 3X. So I used slightly less yardage on this. I have this much left from 2 balls of the Dottie. So I'm going to say is less than 1,100 for a 3X. So I'm going to say 1,000 to be fair. If you're making, I think I estimated for either the cotton or the Dottie is the same yardage if you're using a DK weight yarn. Obviously you can adjust and use a worsted weight yarn if you want, or an even thinner yarn. I do plan on making another one of these in the new Cotton Sprout that's a sport weight yarn. So that's going to probably take even more yardage. You're going to have to math it out and figure that out if you're doing different weighted yarns. But for a DK weight, I am guesstimating for a size small to an extra large, I would do between 600 and 800 yards. And anywhere from an extra, like 1X to 4X, I would have a minimum of 1,000 yards just to make sure you have enough, because all of our bodies are different. I do put in the tutorial how to make it wider in case you're more pear-shaped or you have like a bigger tummy. I show you how to put increases along the side so that it's not so form-fitting here if you want it to blouse out a little more. I don't mind it hugging my curves. It does hug my belly fat right here a little too much, but this one's actually too big. This one's just slightly too small. But that's okay. I'm on a journey, so they're both beautiful. I will wear them both. So yeah, what you need for the tutorial is, I told you the yardage for the yarns. You can use any DK weight yarn, but the ones I recommend most often is the Cotton Sprout Cotton Sprout Speckled. Cotton Sprout DK works beautifully. This is the color Lagoon, I think. Or this one is the Dottie yarn, which is a bigger ball. So you only need 2 balls to make this, whereas I needed, I don't know, several balls, like 7 balls to make this of the Cotton Sprout. Both yarns are beautiful and good. If you have them in your stash, cool. If not, you can buy them on the link that is in the description box under this video. And with that, oh, what hook did I use? What hook did I use? 4.5 millimeter hook. Alright, that's all you really need. Pair of scissors, darning needle to weave in your ends, which I actually did. It's a miraculous thing. And with that, let's go to the table and make this beautiful tank top. Alright, to get started, I am using the Dottie yarn from Premier Yarns in the color Lagoon. I have 2 of them on standby. I am using a 4.5 millimeter hook. You can go up or down depending on how tight you want your stitches to be. If you want your stitches to be a little more closed off, you can use a 4 millimeter hook. I'm just more comfortable using a 4.5 millimeter hook for this. Now, to start off with, because this is a design off of your body tutorial, you are going to need to measure for the first part. What we're doing is This is the design that I have drawn out. We're going to start with the mesh part that is on the top. This should be above your bosom. So first thing you need to do is measure from, if you wear a bra, measure from your bra strap to your bra strap. If you don't wear a bra or you don't plan on wearing a bra with this, just measure just slightly inward from your armpit. We're going to chain that measurement. Now for me, let me grab the other tank top that I designed. This is the prototype. This is what the top looks like for me. So this is actually thinner end than bra strap to bra strap on me, but you also need this to be a multiple of 4. Okay, so you take your measurement from armpit, just before armpit to armpit. I'm going to show you with the tape measure. This one on me is just about 10 inches. Chain, counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Or for me, I aimed for 40. And then I added an extra chain as a turning chain. So, as long as you can divide the number by 4, you are good to go. So once again, because I'm using the same hook, and I'm still using a DK weight yarn, which is what I showed you in that other one. That was cotton, this is acrylic. I am going to once again chain 40 plus 1. And yes, we're going to hear the musical stylings of the wind chime, which is on the front porch. It's kind of windy today. That was 40 for me, and I'm going to add 1. And then for the first row, this doesn't actually count as a row, I'm just going to single crochet all the way back. So you should have whatever your starting number is, plus the 1. So because I chained 40, we should have 40 single crochets across the front of this. And just single crochet in 8 each chain. If you have a hard time keeping track of where your chains are and what a chain looks like, count your stitches as you go back across to make sure that you have 40 or whatever your number was, because we're all shaped differently. That number is going to be different. And like I have said many times introducing this tank top to you, you can use a worsted weight yarn if you prefer. You can use a thinner weight yarn if you prefer. I plan on, after making this one, making one in a sport weight, so the measurements are going to be different person to person, body to body, and yarn to yarn. But for me, I'm going for 40. Just single crochet. This Dottie yarn that I'm using is a little bit different than the Cotton Sprout Speckles that I used for the one I just showed you. This one is speckled as well, but it's a self-striping speckle, so it will have a section where the speckles are navy, and then a section where the speckles are like a full section, and it will go to the next color, which is, I think, lime green or purple or turquoise. So I'm really excited how this one will look as opposed to the other one. Now when we get to the mesh part, it is a 2-row repeat, but the rows are kind of funky. I have to read my notes so I can remember how we did it. Because it's just not a typical mesh. I wanted the mesh to look like X's. Oops. Almost to the end, and it should be 40, but I didn't count. And sometimes I do miscount, and I just leave that in the tutorial because we're not perfect. All right, So for the next part, we are going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Turn our work. Okay, it should just be like this thin strip at this point. And then we are going to skip the one we chained 4 out of and skip the next one. Let me bring you guys in so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. All right, so we chained 4. Focus. Skip this first hole and go into the, skip the first hole where we chained out of, skip the next hole, and then in that third hole we're going to double crochet. I think I zoomed in too far. There. I believe that that is in focus. There's a knot right there. It knotted itself. I'm sorry, bear with me. Alright, I can't get the knot out. We just tied it real tight. You barely notice it. Alright. So we put our double crochet, and then we are going to skip the next one and double crochet. So yes, there's not a chain 1, skip 1. We're just doing a skip 1. Okay. Then we're going to chain 2 and double crochet in the next stitch. Then we're going to skip 1 and double crochet. Then we are going to, let's see. Yeah, see it? We're making a V. So it's going to be, you can see, it's going to be a pyramid and then a V and then a pyramid and then a V. Okay, so that's what it should look like. I hate when it does spot focus. There we go. Alright, that's what it should look like. So the repeat for this will be chain 2, double crochet in the next one, don't chain but skip 1 and double crochet. Okay, that will be the repeat, and it will look like zigzags. So when we skip 1 and have a double crochet, then we chain 2, double crochet in the next stitch, skip 1, double crochet, chain 2, double crochet in the very next stitch, skip 1, double crochet, chain 2. So when you have a chain 2, you double crochet in the very next stitch, and then you skip a stitch and double crochet again. See how that looks? That's what yours should look like. Chain 2, next stitch. It's like making a V-stitch. Then you skip 1 and double crochet. Then you chain 2. Get your yarn untangled. Next stitch, double crochet. Then you skip 1 and double crochet. Whoop. Chain 2, double crochet in the next stitch. Then skip a stitch and double crochet. Chain 2, double crochet in the next stitch. Skip a stitch, double crochet. Oh, there's a little bit of purple there. Chain 2, next stitch, double crochet. Wait, yeah, skip a stitch, double crochet. The purple distracted me. I was like, what am I doing? I'm pulling more yarn out of the ball, so I'm not fighting it because we're still at the center of the ball. chain 2, double crochet in the next stitch, skip a stitch, double crochet, and then we're at the end, so we're going to chain 1 and double crochet in that very last stitch. Oh, if I can get in it. There we go, double crochet. That is what our first row should look like. It should go zigzag, kinda, if we pull it apart a little bit. That's what it should look like. Alright. Next row. This will be the beginning of like the repeat. So we'll repeat the next row and then, so we'll be technically repeating, this is what I'm calling row 1. We're going to repeat 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3 for a couple inches. Okay. So now we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Turn our work over. We are going to, let's see, skip this area right here, and in the top of the, what looks like a pyramid, so it goes boop boop like that. You see that? Where it goes boop boop. So this is a V-stitch. This is technically a V-stitch. We're going to go into this stitch right here, which is a pyramid, not a V. Okay? And we are going to so in the top of the V-stitch, we are going to put well, not the V-stitch, the top of the pyramid, which goes like this, not like this. We're going to put a V. Okay? So we chain 4, counts as a double crochet, chain 1. Go over to where the pyramid is, and in the first stitch here, put a double crochet, chain 2, and then double crochet in the next stitch next to it. Okay, see how we made a V? So this is technically an X. It goes boop, boop, like that. Alright, then and just like in the previous row, because we did the chain 2, double crochet in the next stitch, now we skip a stitch and double crochet. Then we chain 2, and in the very next stitch we put a double crochet, and then we skip over the chain 2 here and go to the other part of the V there and put a double crochet. Okay, so we're still making the zigzag on the top of here, and it's still the same exact stitch as we were doing. So we didn't do a chain 2 here, we did a double crochet, which means that was just followed by a double or 2, no, chain 2, double crochet in the next stitch, skip the space and go into this leg and double crochet. Okay, chain 2, go into the next stitch, which should be a double crochet, don't chain, skip this chain and double crochet into this post here, chain 2, next stitch, double crochet, don't chain, skip this chain and go into the next leg. So we are going to be working in the posts of the top of the V-stitch, and then also, since it goes V-stitch and then let's use that, we have V-stitch and then peak is right next to it. So we are going to be crocheting in here and here and here. Okay, and that's what that should look like. See how it's kind of making an X, like boop, 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 boop. I just like the way this looks. Alright, so the last stitch we didn't put a chain 2, so that means we got a chain 2. Go into the very next stitch. Now don't chain 2 and skip over the chain space and double crochet. And then chain 2, double crochet in the next stitch. Skip over the chain and go into the post and double crochet, chain 2, crochet into the next stitch. I know that this is probably confusing if you haven't done this before. This confused me designing this stitch. but we can do it together. Once you get the hang of where to put the stitches, it's easier. So we got the chain 2 there. We're going to go into the very next stitch. And when you have the V stitch here, skip over that and don't chain right there, and just put a double crochet. So in the V, you're putting a slant this way. Chain 2, go into the very next stitch, and then double crochet, skip the space, double crochet the next leg, chain 2, double crochet in the next stitch. So see how on top of the pyramid is a V, pyramid, V, pyramid, V. It should be like that all the way across. Pyramid, V, pyramid, V. See? Skipping over the chain space. Right, we're at the last part of the row, so I'm going to chain 1. I'm gonna double crochet. We're gonna skip this first one because this is a chain 4. Skip the first chain and go into the one after that, which is technically the double crochet. We're gonna double crochet there. We're gonna chain 4 again. I'm gonna flip it over. We're gonna kind of do the same thing. We're starting with a V, so we need to put a double crochet. Or that's not a V. That is a pyramid. So we put a double crochet, chain 2, double crochet in the next stitch. See how we did that? Then we're not going to chain, and because that's a V stitch, we're going to skip the chain and put a double crochet, then chain 2. And when you see the V stitch here, actually, yeah, when you see the V stitch here, on top of the pyramid, we put a V stitch, and on top of the V stitch, we put a pyramid. Alright, so just what we're doing is we're alternating. If the first set of stitches here, when you chain 4 here, if the first stitch is a pyramid here, you still do the chain 4 and you double crochet here. And we know, because this is a V stitch, we don't chain between here and here, right, for the next row. And then we know if we see the pyramid side of it, we're going to put a double crochet, chain 2, double crochet here. And then of course, then we have the V stitch here, so we're going to create a pyramid here. So you don't chain here and just skip the chain. And that's all you're doing when it comes to this mesh stitch. Now if you don't like this mesh stitch, you can skip it and just do double crochets, because I know that someone is going to have a problem with this, and that's okay. Because we're all on different levels, we're all learning at different rates, we all learn differently. So just, you have to remember, this is all you have to do, is if you see you're at the top of the pyramid here, chain 2, double crochet in that next stitch, create a V on top of the pyramid. And now we're on top of the V part, so we don't chain, and we double crochet at the other side of the V. Chain 2, next stitch, don't chain 2, skip the chain stitch below, make a pyramid, chain 2, V stitch in the next stitch, no chains, pyramid, chain 2, V stitch in the next stitch. See how we're doing that? So it's V, pyramid, V, pyramid, V, pyramid. Alright, we are going to just repeat doing that. So every other row we'll start with a V or a pyramid or a V. Let's see, that was a pyramid, so we need to chain 2 and make the V stitch. Skip the chain 2, chain 2, next stitch, skip the chain 2, chain 2, next stitch, skip the chain 2, chain 2, next stitch, skip the chain 2, chain 1, and double crochet in the 3rd chain here. That is row 3. We are going to do this until the mesh part is a couple inches. And this is all dependent on how low you want the mesh stitch to go on your cleavage. For me, we're at about 3.5 inches. I'm going to say go for 4 inches. Let's aim for 4. You can even aim for 5 inches of the mesh if you want. We're going by measurements, not by rows. So just every row starts with a chain 4. Oh, I was off camera, sorry. Just chain 4. Every row starts that way. Turn your work. Determine, is this a pyramid or is this a V-stitch? That's a pyramid. So we're going to double crochet, chain 2, oops, double crochet in the next stitch, Oreo. Then that's a pyramid, so we're going to skip the chain part and put a double crochet. And if you want, every other row, you can mark. I did my pen. Just mark. I did row 1, which started with, what did I say it started with? A pyramid. That's an A pyramid. Row 2 is a V-stitch. Row 3 starts with a pyramid, and so on and so forth. So you can just write it down, like have a little paper, put it in your phone if you want. Just do row 1 was, in case you have to put this down during working on the mesh part, write down, it started with a pyramid. It started with a V-stitch. And you know that when you have the V-stitch here, see the V-stitch? That's a V. You need to create a pyramid on top of it so there's no chains there. And then when you move on to the next stitch, you're going to chain 2 and then go into that very next stitch there. And then you're not going to double crochet. You're not going to, no, you're going to skip the V-stitch and just double crochet there. Then you're going to chain 2 and double crochet the next stitch. Okay? That's all there is to this mesh part. Continue for 4 or 5 inches. And I think we have it. I'm going to continue to do this row so that I make sure that you guys understand and see what I'm doing. So don't forget the chain 2. And so when there's 2 double crochets leaning together, that's the top of the pyramid for the previous row. And then you skip the chain 2. And then you chain 2 up here, go into the next stitch. I just feel like repetitiveness, skip the chain and double crochet. Repetitiveness is how we learn. Watching it over and over again and trying it. And so I'm just going to let you continue to watch. So hopefully you can see where my stitches are going. Chain 2, next stitch. Skip the chain 2 and double crochet. Chain 2, next stitch. Skip the chain 2 and double crochet. This purple is really pretty. Oof. Chain 2, next stitch. Skip the chain 2 and double crochet. Chain 2, next stitch. Are you singing along with me? Skip the chain 2 and double crochet. Chain 2, next stitch. Skip the chain 2 and double crochet. Chain 2, next stitch. Skip the chain 2 and double crochet. And then chain 1. Oh, I see a green spot. Double crochet in the equivalent of the chain 3 space here. Chain 4, 2, 3, 4. Turn your work. Repeat. And because the top of this row is a pyramid, we are going to make a V-stitch. Double crochet, chain 2. Double crochet in the next stitch. skip the chain 2 and double crochet. All right, I'm gonna pause, continue the mesh, and don't just measure it all bunched up like this. Like, stretch it and measure it, because with weight this is gonna get bigger because the garment below this is gonna be heavier, so it's gonna pull these stitches open. So when you measure this for 4 or 5 inches, stretch it. Because the other one, the cotton one that I showed you, has been blocked already. Like, I got it wet and I hung it up so that it stretched all the stitches out. So right now, unstretched it's about 2 inches, but stretched it's about 2.5 inches. So keep that in mind, or otherwise you're gonna be flashing your boobs to everybody, and you know, maybe you're down for that, but a lot of you probably are not. So just be mindful of stretch it out when you measure it. And I will be back to show you the next step. All right, I have measured, I've stretched it out. I'm at about 5 inches here, and that is going to be the top of the at your clavicle. All right, so now what we're going to do is, when we've gotten this far, look at how pretty those colors are. So it goes navy, purple, green, and then turquoise. Very pretty. All right, so now what we're going to do is we are going to stop it from going just straight up and down, and we're going to extend it out this way. So we're going to be creating this kind of more triangular, and in order to do that we have to increase on every row going down. So this is our startup row, and we're going to chain 3. That counts as a double crochet. Flip our work over, and in this space here, the very first space, we are going to put 4 more double crochet for a grand total of 5. That's 3, 4, 5. Okay, we are going to skip the next space. So because this first one was kind of like a V-stitch, we're going to skip the pyramid and go over to the V-stitch. Now if you're in it, because it's every other row is a repeat, if your first stitch is a pyramid, that's okay too. That does not matter. Just skip over the V-stitch and then work in. So what we're doing is we're skipping over a hole. We're going to work in this hole, skip this hole, work in this hole, skip this hole, work in this hole, skip this hole. And of course, if your V's and if it's in a different order, it's not going to matter whether you're working into a V-stitch or a pyramid, okay? So we're going to skip over the next hole, and in this hole here, we're going to put 5 more double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to do this all the way across the row. Skip the next hole, and in the next hole after that, do 5 double crochet shell. It's a shell. We're just doing shells. That was 5. Skip the next hole. Go into the next hole and put a shell. Hi, Bentley. Where you been? Thank you. I sat a chair next to me, which I haven't had a chair next to me in a long time in videos, because Ponyo wanted to be held because her mom is at work. Skip the next hole, go to the next one, put a shell. Do this all the way across. Cue Oreo. Anyway, skip the next hole, go into the next one. Dog interruptions. Do a shell. 5 double crochet. Anyway, put the chair there so Ponyo could sit next to me, and Bentley just sat there. Hang on. Oh, never a dull moment in the cinnamon house. Skip the next hole, put a shell and then one after that, which consists of 5 double crochet. For the next row, I'm going to give you 2 options. Anyway, like I was saying, Bentley sat in the seat next to me, got up here and gave me a kiss. This is what it's going to look like. And it's going to eventually go out this way, which is what we want on both ends. Skip the next hole, put 5 double crochet in that one. The next row, I'm going to give you 2 options for how to do these stitches, because I have had people express to me that they want shell stitch for their tank top, and also that they don't want holes because they don't want to wear something under their tank top. I'm going to put the holes. My stitch is going to look like this. I'm going to show you how to close the holes. So it's like that, okay? So I'm going to give you two options. You can make this top however you want it. I always give you options for our skip. Go to the next one for double crochet. I always give you options because I want you to be able to customize it to where you're comfortable and you feel beautiful, because that is the goal. And of course, you can make this in any and all sizes, including little kid sizes. You just need to measure it on them. Skip the next hole and then put a shell. Whoops, which is always will be for this entire tutorial. If I say shell, it means 5 double crochet. Skip the next hole, shell, come back to the navy, skip the next hole, shell, and I'm going to go over here, and in the third chain I'm going to put 5 double crochet. Alright, now the edges are going to go out. So every single row for the next several rows while we're building the front, this is the front panel, we are going to start every row with a chain 3, turn our work, and put 2 double crochets in that same stitch. This is our increase. Okay. We're going to skip over, and in between the shells here, we are going to put a shell. Is that right? Hang on. Yes. I'm going to put 5 double crochets. 4 and 5. And all the way across, in between the shells, you're going to put a shell. Shell, shell, shell. All the way across. When you get to the end of the row, you're going to put 3 double crochet. That's our increase. And it just occurred to me that this is not the actual row where we're going to close the holes up. So that will be the next row. So bear with me. I forgot I was building a row. We're building up. We're building up. I keep slipping out. 3, 4, 5. Skip the shell, go in between the shells and put a shell, which is 5 double crochet here and throughout. Like I said, we're just going to repeat this across, and hopefully we can get the dogs not to bark, and there's only one kid in the house, not to be loud, and the wind chime to be calm. Put a shell in every space. While I am filming this tutorial, when I pause the video, I am watching the Lori Vallow trial in Arizona on Jumpsuit Pablo's channel, because the man is funny and he entertains me, and he's not bad to look at. I'm gonna say that. It's not me hitting on nobody, because I'm a happily married woman, but you know, I always give compliments where compliments are due, man, woman, anybody. Like, if I find them attractive or they're beautiful to look at, I say, hey, go check out this person. They're beautiful. They're handsome. They're smart. They're funny. He actually reminds me, Jumpsuit Pablo reminds me of somebody from Michigan that we used to hang out with, that we hung out with a lot, actually, named Casper. He was a really good friend to us. He was good people. He would never fail to drop everything and come if we needed Like we had a flat tire one time, or like if we need help working on something, he would make time. He was just one of those good people. I miss friends like that. We don't have that here. We don't have a backup system. All right, we are almost across the row. And remember, this is going to be a shell, which is 5. But in the very last stitch right here, we still need an increase, so we're going to put 3. 3 double crochet in the very last stitch of that shell. Now this is where I'm going to change things up for you, that those of you that want these holes to be closed off. Okay, well not these ones, but these ones right here. So what we're going to do is we're still going to, every row will begin with a chain 3 and 2 double crochet for this section anyway, in the same stitch. That's our increase. That is actually creating the armpit. So it is going to, this is the top of your chest, this is curving out towards under your armpit, which is, that's where we're going to measure. We're going to create rows going back and forth like this until these peaks held across your chest reach to the center part of your armpit. That's what we're aiming for. Okay? Now, if you're going to continue on and you don't mind the holes here, if you don't mind it looking like this, which I do not, just continue on with that last row. Just 3 double crochet here, and in between each shell, put a shell. And then end the row in 3 double crochet. However, if you are one of those people that don't want to wear anything under here, don't want your skin to show, you're embarrassed, whatever, the only difference is we're going to put 2 double crochet. It's still going to be a shell. It's just going to be a modified shell. 2 double crochet in that space, right? Then the 3rd double crochet you're going to attach into the shell below. 3 double crochet, and then add 2 more double crochet in there. That will be your shell. It's a modified shell. It's going to pull all of your things together. I'll show it again. This is only if you want the closed shell, okay? You go into the hole where we're building our shells, 2 double crochets in that hole. The 3rd double crochet is going to go drop down into the shell below. Doesn't matter which stitch you put it in. Okay? And then finish the shell off in the hole that we just kind of pinched closed by putting 2 more double crochet. Alright, I'll show it again. Find the hole, 2 double crochet, drop the 3rd double crochet down in the shell of the previous row, put your finger in there if you got to, find where the hole's at, and put 2 more double crochet. This is going to be more textured. It's going to look like this, okay, as opposed to looking like this. You see the difference? This will be closed, this will be opened. That's still moist. I washed it 2 days ago. Just the bottom part, because this is cotton from the Dollar Tree. It's not this real nice cotton up here. Isn't that pretty? Anyway, this one's pretty too. So that is the closed, and I'm not going to show that stitch to you again. If you want that stitch, just when I tell you to do a shell, you drop down that 3rd stitch. It's really that simple. I'm actually going to do, well, I don't know. Yeah, we'll finish off the row. 2 double crochet. No, we're not. Then drop down the 3rd double crochet. Find your hole and put the 2 double crochet in there. So you're still going to have the 5 double crochet shells here. We're just dropping down the 3rd stitch here to pull it closed. Okay, you're going to have a tighter, denser fabric. You're not going to have any holes or gaps, and it's going to look like that. Now, I'm not doing that because I don't mind the holes. So I'm going to frog it back, and I'm just going to continue with the 5 shells, and just going to repeat this row. 5 shells in every hole, the 3 to start and the 3 to end. And we're going to continue repeating this row. 5 double crochet in every hole. Oh, I hear the children across the street. I'm going to have to turn my cameras on. 4 and 5. So we just repeat that. Every row starts with a chain 3, 2 double crochet in the same one, and in every hole across, shell. And in the end, that very last stitch, 3 double crochet. And repeat the row. Repeat it until this, when you hold it up on your body, these 2 peaks wrap around the front of you and meet at the center of your armpit. So all you need it to do is reach. So if you take and you cut your body in half straight down the center, it just needs to reach at that center point. Okay? And I am going to work on this, and I'll be back because you don't really need to see me do this many rows. So for a size 4X, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I did 12 rows of this to reach a 4X. So just keep that in mind. You're probably going to do about, test it every 5 rows or so to see where it measures you. This reaches at the center of where my deodorant goes. All right. You got this. I'll be back in a little bit to check in with you. And I'm probably going to aim for 10 rows and then measure it and see where we go from there. All right. This is what we got so far. And I think I actually did 13 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 rows. This reaches the center part of my armpit when it's wrapped around the front of my body. Now we are going to make this to where we are crocheting in the round. And this is going to be a little different because the back is going to be a different stitch than the front. But what we need to do first and foremost, let me double check and make sure that I did it this way. Alright, we are going to do, you can chain if you want to. If you don't like doing the foundation single crochet, you can chain double the length of this. So what you want to do is chain however long this longest part is and then connect it there. What I am doing is a foundation single crochet. And I will show you promptly how to do that. It's not difficult, but it does take some getting used to if you've never done this stitch before, because not a lot of people do the foundation single crochet. Okay, so I'm going to chain 1. And so we have this double crochet here. We're just going to go into that top part and pull up a loop. You should have 2 loops. To make the foundation single crochet, you chain 1 and then you take off both loops. Okay, and then if you look here, the stitches is kind of, there's 3. See how it's kind of looped across there? You want to pull through the top 2 loops here. There's 2 loops there. And then look, there's one on the bottom. This part is right here, is all part of the stitch. So a single crochet has like a 2 loops here and 1 loop here, but they're all like combined together. So you got to kind of come in between the bottom loop and the 2 top loops. See? Let me show you. I know it looks like a jarbled mess right now, but you just go across the top like that. And then you pull up a loop, that's your pulling up a loop, then you chain 1, and then you take off 2, that's the single crochet. So you're creating a foundation, which is the chain stitch, and the single crochet all in one shot. Go through the top 2 loops here, pull up a loop, chain 1, whoops, chain 1, single crochet. Go through the top 3 loops, pull up a loop, chain 1, single crochet. We're going to do this all the way across until we have doubled this length. For me, this length is, of course this is going to be different for everybody because we're all different sizes. about 29 inches. So I'm going to chain about another 29 inches so that it will be, was that 58 inches in total to go around me, because I wear like a 4X. So we're gonna pull up a loop, chain 1, single crochet. Do a couple more really slow motion. The stitch count at this point doesn't really matter. We're not going for a multiple because the back is not going to be shells for right now. It is going to be just double crochet. So all we're doing is creating a base for the next part. Because if I show you the other one, this is the back. This is where we stopped doing the shell. This is where I did the foundation single crochet all the way across to double the size of it. And then when we come back, when we continue working in the round, we're going to work shells in the front and double crochets in the back. And then to create the upper part of the top, we're going to reattach here and work upwards. And that creates the sleeves. So none of these are things we have to worry about right now. We just need to foundation single crochet for double whatever the width of the front is. Whoops, I missed. I didn't go in the right area. And once you get the hang of it and you figure out where your hook is supposed to go and what the stitch is supposed to look like, this is actually a really easy stitch to do. And I prefer this for all of my I would rather do foundation stitches than to do a chain stitch. I tend to twist my chain stitch no matter what I do. And it's just easier for me to make a foundation chain. So I'm going to continue this until it is about 29 inches. Or whatever your measurement is for your body. And then I will show you how to connect it to the other side. I will be right back. Alright, now we want to make sure that our foundation chain is not twisted. It is not. It is the length, is double the length. So if you lay it along, it should reach from end to end without these ends curling up or anything like that. I also have 2 stitch markers. We're going to need those. We're just going to attach this in the last stitch, the shell of the front, with a single crochet. Okay, now I did that backwards. I attached it the wrong way. I need to flip this over. All right. Well, let's need the front facing you. Although there's not really a front and a back. Make sure the chain is not in fact twisted. I didn't have this much problem with the last one. This one's just being difficult. All right. Now, get everything situated. Why is this twisting? Alright. See, I did foundation single crochet because this doesn't tend to twist. Look, it's twisting and twirling and... Oh, we're going to make it work. Untwist. Untwist. There we go. There we go. Alright, I think we did it. By George, I think she's got it. And then we want the bottom of the thing facing away from you and single crochet. Alright, so I just single crocheted to that last stitch there. And then we're going to chain 1 and we're going to work back across the foundation row. And the way that you can tell the side of the stitches you're supposed to be working in is this down here will feel tighter and this will feel looser and baggier because the chain stitches are down here, the little tiny skinny, but the fatter part of it, so see, that's the flat part. We need to work on the fat part. See the V's? The V. That's the side we're going to be stitching on. In case this gets twisted and you get all confuzzled, you need the fat part is where we're going to be crocheting through. So we're going to hold it flat like this. And we're going to do half double crochets in each stitch across. See, we're working through the fat part there. And there's going to be, when you are crocheting, there's going to be a hole there. It's going to be a separation of the chain stitch and the single crochets. And so when we come back and work for the sleeve, we're going to work where that hole is. So you need to make sure that you're on the right side of the stitches. And just half double crochet all the way across. You want the 2 separate loops on your hook when you're doing this. So when you stick your hook in there, there should be 2 on top and then the thick part on the bottom, which is the chain stitch. And just half double crochet in each stitch all the way across. And this is the only time we're going to half double crochet for the rest of this garment. Unless we decide to use half double crochets for the sleeve or the straps, which is possible. But that's what we're doing. Just half double crochet across this strip until you get to where the shells are. That's what we're doing. We're just only in the strip till we get where the shells start. Ponyo's trying to eat a hanger. Alright, this is the part where we got our chain all the way across, and yes, I did twist it, but we're just going to fudge our way through it and pretend I didn't. That end is twisted, it'll be fine. Alright, so this is going to be the point where we are going to decide if we need to make this part, like if you have, because right now we're measuring around the chest area. If you have a larger gut area, stomach area, butt area, and you want this garment to flow outward, this is the spot that we're going to make that happen. So we're at the last stitch. This is the increase of when we were doing the shells. We put the last stitch here in the double crochet area. We're going to skip these 3 stitches and we're going to put a full shell in the space here that we're in between the chain, the 3 double crochet, and in between the shell we're going to put 5 double crochet, which is a shell, and we're going to put a stitch marker right here. This is going to be the spot that we either make it a straight garment where there's no increases, so we need to be mindful of this stitch right here, or this is where we are going to put our increases. Okay, so just right now all you need to do is put your stitch marker where the shell and the half double crochets are meeting. Okay, and then go across the front of your garment and put the shells where the shells belong, which are the same places the shells have always been. And every shell throughout the rest of the garment will be, well, no, it won't. We'll get to that when we get to it. Just 5 double crochet across the front. And what is different about this garment is we are not going to be slip stitching to join. There's not going to be a jagged row. We are going to work the shells in the round, the continuous round. So there's not going to be an end of the row, beginning of the row situation happening. And I will show you what I mean. That's why we need the stitch markers. So just like we were doing in the top part, every time you see that space, put your shell. Now whether it's the open shell or the one where we closed it off, that's up to you. But we're just going to put our shells. Okay. That's what that should look like. I will meet you at the end over here where this row, well, where we connected. That's where we connected. I will be right back with you. Alright, so I made it all the way to the other end, and like I said, I have a twist here. But I'm just going to lay everything flat. I'm going to pretend that I didn't twist it. I think. Let me make sure that's laying right. There we go. All right. Sometimes you just have to fudge it. Yeah, that's the way it goes. All right. And once again, we're at the point where we're getting ready to connect. I twisted again. Dang it. I set it down and I twisted it. There we go. All right. Stay. Sit. Ooh, sit. Yeah, try to hold that. I'm going to put the shell, you know what, I'm going to have to refix it in a minute. I'm going to put the shell in that last space right here, in between the shell and the 3 shell increase. So that should 5 double crochet there. 3, 4, 5. And hopefully you didn't make the mistake that I made of twisting this. You don't have to keep fixing it over and over again like I'm doing, because I'm a bonehead apparently. There we go. Alright. Now, could I frog it? Yeah. Am I gonna? No. Once again, we are going to put a stitch marker, but first we're going to go over to that first stitch here, and we're going to put a double crochet. Okay. So in the half double crochet of the previous row, yours shouldn't be twisted there, but it doesn't matter. It'll be fine. Put your second stitch marker, and all the way across in the half double crochets, we are going to double crochet all the way across. And then when we get to the other side, we are going to just double crochet up until we reach where our stitch marker is. Okay, so just double crochet all the way across this back section. And it should look like that. Now, like I said, we're going to be working in the round. So you're going to notice there is no place to connect and chain up. So we're just going to be working completely in the round. And it's going to be just fine, and it's going to work out. And there's not going to be any weird seam. There's not going to be any weird spot where you can obviously tell that that's where it was connected and chained up for the next row. And it's going to be nice and simple and smooth and easy and beautiful. So just double crochet all the way across this back strap. Like I said, the back strap is going to be the back, a little bit of the back section is just going to be double crochets. The front section is going to be shells. Okay. I will meet you at the end of this row. And I will probably have different sleeves on because I'm going to finish this part of the tutorial in my world tomorrow. I'm going to go spend time with my son. It is approaching dinner time. I've been at this all day. And for you it'll be seconds. For me it'll be overnight. Alright. We are back. It is the next day. So we've got to our first little stitch marker here. We are going to double crochet all the way up until we reach that hole right there where the stitch marker is at. Now this is where customization is going to come in. If you have a much larger stomach than you have like your chest area, and this fits perfectly around your chest, and you need to do some increases where these 2 stitch markers are at on either side. That is where you're going to do your increases. Now I'm going to pull the other shirt in so you can see what I'm talking about, because I did both. I messed up a little bit, but we're going to pretend I did not. So where the hole is, the stitch marker is, and we're going to move it every row. I'll show you how to move it. We are going to alternate. If you are not making this bigger for your body, like if you can just make this a straight garment all the way down, it's going to just flow straight down. If you don't have a need to expand this for like your belly area, then what we're going to do is, see how there's the hole here? Every other row, well, we'll start here because I didn't do it here. We're going to have 5 and then 3, and then 5 and then 3, and then 5. So our shell, every other row, is going to alternate between a 5 shell and a 3 shell. So 5 double crochet or 3 shell. This will stop it from growing. As you can tell, I made a mistake here and it went back that way. So it should just continue straight down. That's why we put the stitch markers there, because I didn't use stitch markers for this one. However, if you need to add and you need it to grow, down here in this section, every single area will have, I think I did it there, it will have a 5 shell. So this is the other side looking that way. Every row here will have a 5 shell. Or maybe it was on this side. No, it's this way, right here. It will grow out. It will get wider. So the shells will lean back this way, and it will give you, see how messed up this is? It goes, it's fine. This was me screwing up and testing out the theory. But if you put 5 shells in that area all the way down, it will grow out this way. So the shells will come out this way. It will give you a bigger garment around your stomach. So we're going to, if that's confusing, don't worry. I'm going to continue walking you through. So now, in this section, if you need it to be bigger, this will be a 5 shell. If you want it to stay straight, in this area, you're going to put a 3 shell. 1, 2, 3, okay? And we're going to pull the stitch marker out. Boop. We're going to go over, skip this shell, and go over here and put our 5 shell. And we're going to put our stitch marker, you guessed it, between the 3 shell and the 5 shell. Now, if you put a 5 shell there, you're still going to put your stitch marker between the 2 shells. Okay? That is where we're going to work either our increases or our straight. And you do whatever you do on this side, do on the other side. So because that's a 3 shell and a 5 shell, on this side it will be a 5 shell and then a 3 shell where the stitch marker is, and then we're going to move the stitch marker up this way between the 3 and the 5 shell. Or if those are 2 5 shells, because you need this to be a little bit bigger, put it between the 2 5 shells. And then continue on. We're just going to do this for the next couple of rows. So I did it for many more rows than we're going to do it on here. So I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I did 14 rows. I'm probably going to cut that in half and maybe do 7 rows of this, and then we're going to do just the shells in the round. Like I said, this was a prototype and me figuring out the design, but I'm just using that for an example so you have an idea of what it's supposed to look like going forward. Now, all the way across where you see the shells, that is just continuing. We're just going to continue on with the 5 shells, which is 5 double crochets in between the 2 shells of the previous row. All the way across. It will look like that. And remember, we're working in the round, so there's no slip stitch to join and then chain up for the next row. We're just working in a complete circle, like a spiral, if you will. Just continue across here, making your 5 shells until you get to the end, and then determine if you need a 5 shell or a 3 shell. Do you need an increase, or do you want it to be straight? Now, I'm not doing any increases, so I'm going to do a 5 shell and then a 3 shell, or a 3 shell and then a 5 shell, depending on which direction you are crocheting in. I will meet you at the end of this shell section, and I will repeat to you about the increase or non-increase. Alright, I made it across and we're approaching the stitch marker. So we're going to put our last 5 shell is what we're going to call it. I'm going to move to the stitch marker area. I'm going to pop that out and put a 3 shell here, but if you're doing an increase you need to put a 5 shell, okay? And again, the stitch marker is going to go between the 3 and the 5 shell, or the 2 5 shells. Boop it. And then we're just going to, once again, just double crochet all the way across this row. All the way across. So when we're doing this section, when we move the stitch marker and we go on up to the next row, so for this row we're going to put, because we did a 3 shell here, this next row is going to have a 5 shell. And so in between the 5 shell and the stitches, which should be right here, we are going to, the double crochets that we're going to put here, we are going to move the stitch marker up 1, but don't worry, I will show you, because we're going to fast forward. I'm going to pause, and when I get to the end of this area, I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so what I did is I double crocheted in the double crochets across the back. I am skipping the 3 shell. Okay, don't double crochet in these 3 stitches. Or if you have a 5 stitch, skip the 5 stitch. Keep it to the double crochet in the double crochets. Skip whatever shell you created. Move your stitch marker, and because this last shell was a 3 shell, we're going to put a 5 shell. Of course, that is different. If you have a 5 shell, it doesn't matter. If you're doing increases, just 5 shell, 5 shell, 5 shell, 5 shell, and it will be fine. But it needs to go, whatever shell you put there, skip the shell and put the 5 shell in between the 2 things. And then we are going to move the stitch marker this way now. So we're going to put it between, right on top of where that 3 shell is, or your 5 shell, before the shell and after the double crochets. That's where your stitch marker needs to go. Okay, you're going to continue this for about 7 to 10 rows, depending on how far you want to make it. It does not matter if you do 7, doesn't matter if you do 10, does not matter if you do 14 like I did on the other shirt. We're just doing this for a section because part of the back part that we're going to crochet up later on is going to just be double crochets. So we want it to kind of look, we don't want there to be a defining line of, oh, there's different stitches here, different stitches there. That's why we're doing a panel of the double crochet on the back to kind of smooth it up the back so it looks like it's more cohesive. Alright, continue doing this. You're just going to keep moving that stitch marker back and forth, okay? So we put it here, then we put it here, and then we put it here, and then for the next, when we come up around, we're going to move it that way, that way, that way, that way, that way, that way, okay? That's the way it's going to work out. And every row is pretty much going to be the same. Because I'm not doing the increase, I'm going to do 3 shell, 5 shell, 3 shell, 5 shell. But if you're doing increases, you can just do 5 shell, 5 shell, 5 shell, 5 shell. And wherever you move that stitch marker to, that's where you start your shells at. It should be above the next shell. So here, when we come back, you know what, I'll show you. I'll show you. I'm going to go that way. I'll meet you at the end of the shell row, just to make sure we understand what we're doing. Alright, I made it across it just like the last row. We are going to pull the stitch marker out. I am going to put my 5 shell because that's what I did on the other side, and that's the last one was a 3 shell for me. 2, 3, 4, 5. Skip the 3 shell, only double crochet in the double crochets, and your stitch marker will go between the double crochets and the shell for this row. And you're just going to repeat these last 2 rows. That's all you're going to do is you're going to repeat. And you're going to do it until you feel like you don't want to do it anymore, and then we're going to move on to the next step. So I'm going to aim for 7 rows. So I already have 1, 2, 3 rows of this. So I'm going to do 4 more rows exactly like this. I'm going to make sure that you understand, so I'm going to come back just when I get to the end of this row so you understand where we're moving the stitch marker next. And then I'm going to let you work on your own. And of course, if after only 3 rows you've decided you don't want to do any more of this double crochet mess with the shells on the front, we're going to move on after this, and we're going to do shells just in the round. And you can absolutely, after a couple of rows of this, however many rows you want to do, it's up to you. If you want a more flat material on the back, do several rows of this. If you want the shells earlier on, start the shell row, but that will be the next section of this video. So I'm going to pause. I'm going to reach the end of the double crochet section and show you once more how to move the stitch marker. Just keep in mind you want that stitch marker to keep moving straight up, not straight up. It's going zigzag. So it went here, then here, then here, and then it'll go here, then here, then here. You want it to this part to stay straight. Always skipping the shells. I'll show you. It'll be fine. We got this. Alright, I have reached the stitch marker. Pop that out. And for this section, we're just going to stack the 3 shell right on top of the 3 shell here. So even though we have the double crochets right there, we don't have to skip anything for where the 3 shell row is. Just going to put a 3 shell. Skip over the 5 shell and then put a 5 shell. Put our stitch marker back in between the 3 shell and the 5 shell. Come on. There we go. So see how the 3 shells stacked on top of the 3 shell? It's going to continue to do that row by row. So you have the 3 shell, a 3 shell, a 3 shell, a 3 shell. And on here you'll have 5 shell, 5 shell. So the 5 shell should be, where you put the 5 shell should be above the last 5 shell. Okay, so rows are 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, etc., etc. I think you can figure out the rest. The other side is going to be exactly the same. Whatever you did here, do on this side, but just again, the 3 shell is going to go where the stitch marker is, and the stitch marker is going to move up above where the 5 shell of the previous row was. Okay, we'll continue on with that. It's pretty self-explanatory. You just want your 3 shells to be, see how they're like 3 shell is on top of the 3 shell and the 5 shell is on top of the 5 shell there. You just want that to continue going straight up. Unless you are doing the increases, then you're going to have 5 shell, 5 shell, 5 shell, 5 shell, 5 shell, and that's okay too. Just try not to make it too big, because if it's too blousy on you, it's not flattering either. You kind of want it, you don't want it like skin tight, but you want it to like hug your curves a little bit. Even if you have big belly curves, that's okay. As long as it's comfortable on you and you feel pretty, you just don't want to make it too blousy, because that actually can make you look bigger, and then that don't make you feel pretty, right? So I'm going to continue doing this until I have about 7 rows. I may go for 10 rows, probably 7. And then I will meet you back here. I will show you how to change it up to where it is just the shells in the round. So we're going to change it up to where there's shells all the way in the round. And then I'm only going to show you a row or 2 of that, because we can finish this section on its own. I'm going to show you how to do this, and then we will move to the sleeves, which is really easy. Like, I feel like we're in the home run now. This is all the difficult part. Once we got past the teaching of these parts right here, it's much simpler after this. And yeah, all right, I will meet you guys in about 7 rows. I am here to remind you to not double crochet in the 3 shell of the previous row. Oh, focus, turn the focus off. There we go. don't forget not to, when you see that 3 shell there or the 5 shell or whatever, don't ever put a double crochet in the top of the shells. You want to skip those stitches and then move over to where your stitch marker is dangling and then put the 5 shell. I just wanted to remind you because I forgot. I started to do it. I was like, oh, we're not going to do that because that will mess up our line. That's what messed me up on the other tank top. So, and then stitch marker will go above the 3 shell. Boop. Alright, that's all you need. Alright, we are doing fantastic. I actually made it, I think 10 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and this will be the 10th row. And I tried to make sure that I had an equal amount on either side, but it's not going to matter in the long run. But I did count that I had 10 on this side, and I have this last stitch here is going to be 10 on this side. So this is supposed to be on mine a 3 shell instead of a 5 shell. But I'm going to make it a 5 shell because now, and like I said, you can make this band as thick or as narrow as you want it. It doesn't have to be 10 rows like mine was. I didn't plan on going 10 rows, but I got carried away and I was having a good time watching the Lori Vallow trial, laughing at the hysterics that she is doing today. But we did 10 rows, and 10 rows on mine is about... about, we're going to say 5 inches. That band is about 5 inches. Which doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Now the next part, we're just going to continue working in the round. And we're going to convert this back panel is now going to be shells all the way around. Okay? So what we need to do is make sure our last stitch was a 5 shell and not a 3 shell. And we're going to skip 1, 2, and in the 3rd double crochet we're going to put a 5 shell. Five double crochets in that same stitch. Whoops. And then let me get everything flat because it's curling up on me real bad. I think it's because I was crocheting a little bit on the tight side, which is fine. We're gonna work on this end anyway, so even if it is curling up, it'll be fine. It's not gonna continue curling up. All right, and then we're gonna skip 1, 2, 3 again and put a 5 shell. Did I do that right? Let me double check my my notes. Let me double check this. No, don't skip 3. Skip 3 the first time, skip 4 the next time. Come on, Jen, get with it. Sorry, guys. So we skipped 3 and put the 5 shell. Now we're gonna skip 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and in the 5th, right? Yes, we put a 5 shell. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Once again, and all the way across, skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and in the 5th, put a 5 shell. That is what that should look like. Okay. Skip 1, 2, 3, 4, and in the 5th, put a 5 shell. And then, when you get across to the other side, where the stitch marker is, if you don't have a perfect amount of shells to skip, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we'll get there when we get there. I'm putting the cart ahead of the horse. skip 4, and in the 5th put 5 double crochet shell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so we got back, we did our 5, and we have 3, so our numbers were perfect. Well, mine were. So if your numbers aren't perfect to skip what would be the 3 shell, it's okay. Fudge it and make it work. Okay, so just try to get it as close to that 3 as you can. If not, you know, it'll work. And then just continue and put a 5 shell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The rest of the garment is just continuing putting shells all the way around the perimeter. That's all you're going to continue to do, is do shells and shells and shells in the round until this garment is the length that you wanted to hit on your body. You want it to be a crop top? This hits me as a crop top right now. I could seal it off, would be done, I'd have a cute crop top. Not interested in having a crop top, so I have probably another foot to go of shells in the round. Minimum. But all you gotta do is keep going, shells in the round, until it's the length you want it. Now when it's the length that you want it, and you're like, oh, what am I supposed to do here because we're working in the round? I'm gonna tell you what to do. You just go into the next shell. So that this is, you've crocheted for in the round until it's the length you want, and you're satisfied, it hits you where you want on your body. By the way, this is gonna stretch, so I would err on the side of a little bit shorter than you want it to be, because it's going to stretch out. Even if you have all of these closed up, it's still going to stretch out a little bit, because depending on what material your shirt is made out of, it's going to stretch out. So just go like a stitch or 2 over, put a single crochet for a couple of stitches when you're all done, and then slip stitch it, cut it, and call it a day when you get the length you want. That's all you gotta do. That's how you end that. You just put a couple of single crochets and slip stitch it. If you want to go around and do a whole row of single crochets on the bottom, you can do that. It'll make it a little straighter instead of more like scalloped. You can do that. It's your top. You can do whatever you need to do. Alright, so that's all you're going to do to finish off the bottom of the top. Now we're going to turn it. I'm going to actually put a stitch marker here to hold that. And I'm going to put another stitch marker to hold that one closed, so in case that one pops out, we got a backup. Because now we're going to work on the back of our top. Okay, now that's once you've completed how long you want it. You got to make it as long as you want it. I'm going to pretend I put another 8 to 12 inches on there, and it's as long as I want. Now you're going to come to the back of your garment, and once again, kind of measure how far apart your bra straps are. Okay, and what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that you fold this so that it is at that line where the double crochets. Now obviously if you added increases, this line is going to go this way. Okay, that line is going to get bigger. That's okay too. It doesn't matter. Just make sure that it is flat. Lay it on a surface if you need to. As flat as you can. If you are an absolute stickler that this has to be dead center, count your stitches and mark dead center. Okay, so I'm going to grab some more stitch markers back here out of my drawer. They're not the pretty ones though. I think these are some that got sent to me in Happy Mail. Oh, look at that. Alright, I grabbed 3. Now because I'm not a stickler that it has to be the exact amount of stitches, I fold this sucker in half. You can count your stitches, okay? If there's 50, go to the 25th mark. Okay, fold this in half, all the way in half. I should have folded it the other direction. I need to see the back panel. Fold the back panel in half. Okay. And I'm going to mark that center area right here. Okay. Like I said, you can measure that and make sure that it is the exact number of stitches on either side of that stitch marker if you want. But that's how I marked it. That's the center point of my top. Alright. Then we're going to measure the width. Like I said, measure from bra strap to bra strap. And you can measure, if you can't measure on the back of yourself, you can lay your bra out and measure from bra strap to bra strap. Or you can just measure the front from bra strap to bra strap and get an idea of what that measurement is. Oh, I'm having trouble. My thing is stuck. So for me, bra strap to bra strap is about 10.5 inches. Okay, so I'm going to say 12 inches. We'll make it 12 inches. And then we want that stitch marker to be at the center point where the 6 inches is, because that's half of 12. And then we mark on one side at the 0 and mark on the other side at the 12. Does not have to be perfect. Your stitches don't have to be a perfect even amount on either one of those. But again, if you're a stickler and you have to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. I was one stitch over. It's not going to matter in the long run. But I know that some people are particular. And that 25 is going to vary depending on the yarn that you use, how wide your bra straps are, how wide you want this across your back. A whole bunch of things, what size you are. So I'm leaving the first ball attached. I'm pulling out my second ball, and I'm going to attach yarn at one of these blue stitch markers. The pink one actually doesn't matter anymore because, well, I'll just leave it. It'll be fine. That was just to mark the center so we could go off of the center. Right. And all of that only took up half of this big ball. Well, maybe a little over half. So we're getting some good use out of this. Let me untangle. I got a little bit of a knot. And all we're going to do is, once again, we're going to do double crochets on this back part. I was going to do the whole garment in shells, but I figured for beginner, because I try to make everything beginner friendly, it is a lot easier for me to explain in case you need to do an increase, or for this case we're doing decreases in a double crochet than a shell. And I also really like the way the two, like, it looks. I like that you can see here and see here the way the yarn looks in the two different stitches. Alright, so I'm going to slip stitch where the blue stitch marker is. Yeah, slip stitch a join. Okay. And I'm going to take the stitch marker out because I don't need it anymore. Actually, I don't need the pink one either. There. Alright. I'm going to chain one, and in that same stitch I'm going to put a double crochet. And in every stitch across, and because, remember, these were the foundation stitches, just go in that big hole. Just go in that big hole. No sense in doing anything fancy. I mean, you could split the stitch to where that's a single crochet, but you don't need to do that. Just use the big hole. Double crochet across. And because I know for me that's about 50 stitches, I will have about 50 double crochet. You ever feel like something's crawling on your arm and there's nothing there? That's what I'm having. It feels like something's crawling on my arm. Also, I don't know if you can notice, Juju made me sparkly. Juju's my daughter. She was getting ready to go to work and she was putting on some sparkly lotion. And I really like the smell of it. It's a calming scent. And so I got some of her little sparkly. I'm like, I'm going to be sparkly in my tutorial. We're going to be extra fancy. Now that you guys can actually see a whole lot of my hands, because... Right. just double crochet all the way across, and then the next several rows is going to be really super easy. We are going to repeat the same row, but the number of stitches will be different because we're going to be decreasing on both sides. So whereas we increase to create that, we're going to be doing the opposite and decreasing to create it. It's going to go in a little bit. So this tank top is not going to entirely cover your bra straps. If you want it to cover your bra straps and you don't like the idea of the racer back, you can just do a panel of double crochet straight up. You can do that. I approve of that. And I like giving you guys options and ideas when we're doing these tutorials together, because no two bodies are exactly the same. I know that someone is going to be like, I don't like the way this fits my body. It doesn't look right. And that's why I try to give you guys options on how to make adjustments yourself to make it fit you properly, to make you feel pretty, so that you can look at that and go, wow, look, I did that. And that's why I give you guys options. I want everyone to be able to make this in all shapes, sizes, comfortable zones of how much their body they're showing. I know some people absolutely cannot stand a bra strap. I had one lady, oh man, this was years ago. It was years ago on the channel. She ripped me apart because you could see my bra strap. She insulted me. She implied things about my personality because she could see my bra strap. And I said, oh, hang on one second. Sorry, my husband was calling me, and I didn't realize my tablet is right there. I didn't realize my tablet would ring. I purposely left my phone in the other room. Anyway, so I crocheted a little bit while I paused. You're just going to crochet, double crochet till you reach the stitch marker. Okay, and then I'm going to pop the stitch marker out. Anyway, the lady tore me apart about my bra strap, and I told her, I was like, if you are that disturbed about a strap of fabric, maybe the problem is you, sweetheart. And I know some people are like, oh, I need to be modest. Cool, but like, sometimes you don't have a choice. Like, you know? Alright, so now this and all of the next couple of rows, we're going to do a decrease, unless you want this to be a flat strap panel to cover all of your goods on the back end. You can do this a straight up and down and just keep double crocheting until it reaches a certain point. Actually, I'm going to do one more row of just double crochet. I'm changing it up. This is not how I wrote the pattern. I'm just going to give it one more row of double crochet. So I like to chain one on the end and just double crochet in that final stitch. I think it looks nicer than a chain 3. But anyway, when we get to the end of this row, then we'll do the decreases. And the decreases are real simple. On either end, on the beginning of the row and the end of every row for the next several rows, we're going to put 2 double crochet together on the beginning and the end. And then just double crochet across. So it's not a big pyramid. It's just going to slightly go more towards a racer back. And I like racer backs, but not everybody does. And if you don't like a racer back, you can just double crochet straight up. And that is okay. And I give you full permission to make this shirt however you want it to be. And I'm not going full racer back. I'm just doing a slight racer back. And the reason I'm doing that is because I have slopey shoulders. And if I did this straight up and connected the straps, they would probably fall off of my shoulders, and I don't like that. So I like the racer back. A lot of my bras are racer back. Actually, most of them are racer back. And if you don't know what racer back is, it's just it's thin in the back. Instead of 2 straps on the outside, it's a big thick strap up the center. But we are going to have 2 straps. We're going to have 2 straps. We're just creating the back of the garment. And another reason why I like doing the racer back and doing the decreases is because it stops the back from flopping over a little bit. It makes it a little bit more of a stiff material, more of a, and it's also easier if perhaps you have like, you crocheted too big, you underestimated, and you have a real saggy armpit. I will show you also how to decrease around the armpit in case you want that to be a little tighter fitting. You can do that. I also should say that at this point on the cotton one, where we started and connected and we started the second skein, that's where I connected the blue on the cotton one. I did this because I was running out of cotton, but you can very well, if you want an alternate color on the top and the bottom, where I just did the back is blue and then the strap is blue, you can do that, but then I would also put blue around the bottom, or whatever color you do. Say you run out of yarn like I did, and you have this color, you could pick any one of these colors as a specialty color, and you could, this whole section right here would be that alternate color, and then I would do a thick section around the bottom in the same color so that it doesn't look out of place. Quite a few people had mentioned that they loved the way the blue looked with that, and the blue was not intentional. That was because I did not have enough yarn to complete the design. But that's why I'm using the dotty, because I had enough of the dotty for this one. Oops. Now, if you haven't noticed by now, you should probably have tried this on at least a couple of times to make sure that it's fitting you where you want it to fit. You're going to have to do the same when doing your straps and measuring this part, because it all depends on how high up you want the back of your shirt to go and how long you need the straps to be to reach over your shoulders properly. Alright, and the last 2 stitches here. And chain 1 and turn. Now this is going to be the repeat row for however many rows you need it for this length. For the blue one, I'm going to show you. The blue one, the cotton version of this top, I actually didn't go. So that is what the blue one looks like. I crocheted the solid panel until it was about level with the shells on the front of the garment. So for me, that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rows. But if you want the back to be as high as the front, which I'm probably going to do with this one, just keep making this flat panel up until it's as high as you want it to be on the back of your head, on the back of your neck. I think I'm going to keep going on the one we're working on right now until it's level with this one. And we're going to play it by ear and see. Because I'm not sure I'm going to do that, but we're going to see. So, this is the repeat row for as many rows as you need it to be. Like I said, for the cotton one I did 8 rows, and we're on the 3rd row now. So, I think I'm probably going to do it for 10 rows past this point. Now, to do, I just chained 1 and turned. I'm going to wrap, and I'm going to go into that same stitch, pull up a loop, pull off 2. You should have 2 still there. Wrap, go into the next loop. This is a 2 double crochet together. Pull off 2, pull off 2 more. Okay, that's all you got to do. And then double crochet across. And then when you get to the last 2 stitches, repeat that. 2 double crochet together on the last 2 stitches. My nose is itchy. Oh, I banged the camera, sorry. And just keep repeating that until, like I said, you get 8 inches, or not 8 inches, don't do 8 inches, that'll be too much. You get 8 rows, 10 rows, 12 rows, whatever you're comfortable with. Try the top on if you can. See how you like where the back goes on your body. Luckily for me, I have a mannequin that is just about my size. And I can slide this on her and see how I like it to fit on her, how I like it to look on her, where I want it. But if you don't have that, just try it on. Have somebody help you if they're around, and hold it up to where you think you want that back to go. Like I said, it doesn't have to be the same height as the front. It could be lower, it could be high. Doesn't matter. You can end it right here and then put long straps on if that's what you wanted. That is your prerogative. It is your shirt. I think that's what makes my tutorials a little bit different, is a lot of crochet designs have to be scientifical and mathematical. So they put a lot of hard and fast rules on, you have to do this, that, and the other, or it's not going to work out. And I don't design like that. I like to fly by the seat of my pants and like change things up as I go. And I encourage you. I try to teach you that. That's how we learn to design our own things. So let's say you wanted to repeat this, but you wanted to change some things up. You already have the building blocks and the tools to do this, and maybe change the stitches. Maybe make the neckline a little different. There's lots of things that I put into these tutorials to help you to customize it. Because as a fat woman, and I don't say that as an insult, I don't use the word fat as an insult, I don't take it as an insult. As a fat woman, I know that my body changes frequently from weight loss or weight gain, and I have been a lot of different sizes. And I know what it's like to have something that maybe don't fit you right in your tummy, or maybe is too low in your bosom, or maybe the straps are too tight because you have really big arms. And so I try to give you guys options. All right, we're at the last 2 stitches. The neighbors are screaming. Hang on one second. Sorry if anybody heard that. I just had to pause until they were quiet. Alright, so I don't remember if I showed this or not. So we're going to once again do a 2 double crochet together. We're going to wrap our yarn, go in, pull up a loop, pull off 2, wrap our yarn, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, pull off 2, pull off all 3, chain 1, turn our work. And just continue this row. We're going to wrap our yarn, go into the stitch we just created, pull off 2, wrap our yarn, go in the next stitch, pull up a loop, pull off 2, pull off 3, double crochet across. I need to change my battery. So just continue this for, I don't know, 6, 8, 10 rows. Alright, I'm going to change the battery. I almost completed the row. And once again, I'm going to show you how to end this row. Go to those last 2 stitches. And 2 double crochet together, chain 1, turn, wash, rinse, and repeat, 2 double crochets together, double crochet till the last 2 stitches, and it will just ever so slightly like curve in. Oh, look at that. I'm getting waterlogged. I'm not even in the water. Alright, and we're going to do this, like I said, until we get it about the height we want it to be. Just repeat these couple of rows. And if at any point you don't want it to get any more narrow, just double crochet back and forth if you want to add height but not make it narrow. It's very easy to make that change. I will be back in just a few moments when I have reached, I don't know, a total of 12 rows, I think. Alright, I did 14 rows on the back, so if I line up the bottom and I put the front on the back, or the back on the front, I didn't quite go up as far as the neckline because I want the neckline to hit me just at the collarbone, but the back can be down a little bit further, so we have to make up the strap difference from here up and over to there. But if you get to this point and you try it on and you're holding it against your body and you decide that, this armhole is too big and there's too much under my arm showing, this would be the time to fix it before you put the strap. I mean, you could fix it. If you are doing it all in one color like I am, you can fix it after you put the strap on. You absolutely can, but you can also fix it right now, and you would just run stitches along here. When you get to this corner here, do like a couple decreases, do a couple decreases across here, and run a line back and forth of whatever stitch you want. Double crochet, half double crochet, single crochet, and you can make the armhole smaller by doing that. That's not part of the tutorial, but I did want to include that just in case, because I've seen a couple people overestimate what size they need to make this to and make the armhole too big. So I always try to include that. You would just put in, for every double crochet, put in 2 stitches all the way down, and then when you get to this corner, you can like maybe put a little decrease in here. So grab it here, grab it here, grab it here, grab it there, and like do a 4 double crochets together in the corner there. You do the same thing over here, and then just put maybe a couple decreases in here. That's one way that you can do it if you want. If you need it to be decreased there, I do not. And then, and only then, when you're done doing that, come back, only if you need to. That's only if you need to, because right now I'm making the straps, okay? And the straps, you can do double crochets, or you can do half double crochets, which is what I'm going to do, or you can do single crochets if you wanted a much sturdier strap. Like if your garment feels kind of heavy to you, because with the cotton, the cotton is a little bit heavier than the acrylic in the DK version. So whatever you want to make the strap out of, whatever stitches. I'm doing half double crochet, and I need to determine how wide I want my strap to be. Once again, we pull out a tape measure because I keep putting it down and forgetting where I put it. So for this strap, I did just over an inch, about 1 1/4 inches. And by doing that, I just literally chained 1, turned, and I did half double crochets until I found the stitch is like appropriate width that I wanted it to be. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And like I said, you can make the strap as thin or as thick as you want. I think 8 is a good size. Chain 1, 8 half doubles or singles or doubles, whatever you want to do, across. We're just going to do this until the strap is the right length for us, for how long we want it, where we want the shirt to fit us. My straps are going to be relatively short because this front part goes up to my collarbone, and the back is a little bit higher than the other one. So I am just going to do this, and then I'm going to try it on and see if the strap reaches that part. The difficult part about this is if you made the back lower than the front, you need to make sure that this part is lined up when you're measuring it. Make sure the bottom is lined up when you're measuring your strap to come up over your shoulder and meet here. Okay, it's just, you gotta do that. Otherwise your shirt's gonna be longer in the front than it is in the back, and that's just gonna look weird. We'll give you an idea. Oh, did I tell you that I did 14 rows here? I did 14 rows. And actually I stopped decreasing at this point. So I only did a couple rows of decrease, and I'm like, that's about the same width as the front. I'm happy with that. And then I just did back and forth. So this was 14 rows on mine. Like I said, you can go higher if you want. You can make it all the way up to this height. It's up to you, it's your shirt. Just half double in, half double in. The good thing about the straps is you can always, if you make them too long, you can frog them back. If you make them too short, you can just add more. So I need it to at least reach this part and then add for how thick my shoulder is. So how long was this strap? Give you an idea how long that strap was, but keep in mind this back is lower than the other one. Where do I keep setting my tape measures at? Good Lord. So for this strap, I did about 8 inches. So for this one, I might just do 6 inches. I think 6 inches will probably work. So I'm going to half double crochet this until this strap is about 6 inches. I'm going to measure it and I will be right back. I am happy to say that 6 inches was perfect for this top. And the dogs are going to start barking just right now because I hit record. I am going to cut a couple inches because the 6 inches was perfect. I'm going to tie it off, and what we need next is this is the only part we have to sew for the entire top. Alright, sorry about that. Last thing we need to do before, well, you obviously need to repeat this and have a second strap. Whatever you did on this strap, do to the second one. And for me, I still have to add length because, you know, this is a tutorial, so I'm just breaking it up. Give you guys the bare necessities. Line it up. Oh, look at that, the colors lined up. That's pretty cool. That's not going to happen on the other end, but it'll work. So what you need to do is we're just going to sew these together, okay? I'm going to try to bring you in a little bit closer. Let me put my glasses back on because I cannot see the camera. There we go. Line them up together like this. If you need to, pin it. Put a little stitch marker in there. I'm just going to take and go in the first stitch here. Oh. And I'm going to put that back in the needle. And I'm going to go in that first stitch once again. So I'm going to go in this side and then out that side. Okay. And if you want that to be extra secure, you can do it one more time. In this side, out that side. Now what I'm going to do, I call the shoelace stitch because I don't know what it's called. You're going to go, because we're on this side, we're going to go down and up through like you're lacing your shoes. Then you're going to go to this side and go underneath and come up from the inside. You don't need to pull it tight just yet. Go to the next stitch, go underneath, go up through the top. Make sure your yarn is in your hook, in your needle. Underneath, up through, underneath, up through. It's like you're lacing up your shoes, okay? And then when it gets to a certain point, you can pull it tight. And then just keep doing that. And if you want to really reinforce this because you're scared because maybe it's a heavy top or you're scared because you got big boobs and it's going to weigh it down, you can go over this a couple of times. As long as you're using... Dang it, it keeps sliding out. My yarn is too slippery. Pinch that. See if it'll hold it better. Just go in from underneath. Lace it up. My wrist is cracking. When you get to the end, lace it up. Pull it tight again, and you'll see the stitches pull this way. And then, of course, you can repeat that you're going down and back up through. And do that a couple of times just to make sure that those ends are secured. Like that. And if you feel like you need to run some more stitches through there, by all means, just go through and run the stitches back and forth. Any old way that you want. It's not really necessary to do that, but if that's what you feel you need to do, you can do that. And then I just weave this in and we cut it. That's all there is to it. Repeat for the other side and you have a beautiful top. And I'm going to leave you with that. I will, of course, show you the finished product when I film the outro and the intro for this video. But as it is now... Oh, wrong way, wrong way. I'm going to lift you guys up so you can kind of see what we got going on. That is what the front of our shirt looks like with the sleeve. I'll tuck that in, pretend that's not there. And we'll repeat that on this side. That's what the armhole looks like, unless you need to make this smaller, and then you just add some increases or decreases randomly through there, run it up, and you can do all the way around if you want at this point. If you got it to this point, you're like, oh, that shows too much back fat. I need to make that smaller. Just run a couple circles, make this thicker, and do the decreases under the armpit only in this area until it fits you where you want it to be. I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial. I will be back to film the outro when I'm done filming this. Thank you for watching. If you make this, it's so pretty. I'm really proud of the color work. Oh, I didn't show you the back. That's what the back looks like. So this is the end of the back. That's the strap. I will repeat it on this side. And then it fades into, eventually this will all be that underneath here. I really, really like this yarn a lot. I'm falling more in love with it the more I work with it, to be quite honest with you. I really enjoyed this tutorial. I enjoyed the process of designing this for you. It was a little stressful, but thank you so much for joining me. If you made this, I would love to see it. There is a community tab here on YouTube where you could share pictures, but I don't get notifications for that, and I rarely see them. So please, if you're going to share photos with me, I would prefer it to be in the Facebook group, or you can email me or put it on Instagram and @Cinnamon Stitches. I will see it either way. But yeah, I will be back to show you the full thing when we're done. When we're done, you know, I film the outro, the intro, and all that good stuff. Alright, so I finished crocheting the top. I did add a couple of rows under and under the armpits, and all I did is I did 3 rows, and I did a few decreases underneath the arm to keep it from folding out, because you want it to stay hugged on your armpit here. So I did 3 rows of double crochet just here, and from here to here I did like 3 or 4 decreases, which is 2 double crochets together. Space them equally apart on each row. And it is done. And just like that, we made a tank top together. Ponyo, are you behind my chair? She is. So here we have it. It is finished. And like I said, unless you're looking real hard, you're not really seeing through it. And you can see, I'm like fluorescent yellow. Unless you're staring at me and there's nothing else, can't see my skin a whole lot, and I'm not worried that those little tiny holes are causing an issue. But of course, I did give you directions how to close those gaps up if you want them. If you're real self-conscious, you don't want that to show at all, I gave you directions how to do that in the tutorial. So thank you so much for joining me. Once again, if you make this, I would love to see your finished object and the alterations you made, the changes you made. So you can send that to me in the Facebook group or in my email even, or on Instagram. And I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.